blindfolded?
So what they're going to do is they're going to pick their sprinkles and stuff and put it on their plate before they make their tree or gingerbread man brownie. We're getting festive because Michaela hates gingerbread, but brownies are good. I wouldn't say
These
hate,
tiny
dislike.
little balls are quite mesmerizing.
And then, so they're gonna make one regular, unblindfolded, and one blindfolded. So here we go.
We do the unblindfolded one first.
Yeah, make sure you get your trees.
Are we ready to go?
Yeah.
There's knives too for your icing.
I want
Could I ask, should we just actually like put red and green instead of like having this as my knife?
Yeah.
The road I like it. No, we're good.
I have a feeling my blindfolded one won't be any worse than my one that I can see. I have these great and glorious ideas, but the execution of them will probably leave something to be desired.
In your blindfolded challenge, you've got to try and replicate what you did in your.
Oh, is that we're changing the rules as we go. Is that what you're doing?
Yep, that's the current.
Are you
rule.
making a Martian there?
No, it's his outfit.
It's Shrek.
Can I get another? Do you have a boyfriend, Michaela?
His head's falling off.
Jesus, actually, yes. Apparently. I was listening to this song by Upper Room with Pastor Scott and Connor and Belle in the car. And he was like, this sounds like one of those Jesus is my boyfriend songs. I was like, you know what? You're right.
Oh, I know how much of a fan Pastor Scott is of that song. I don't even know what the song is.
It's decapitating.
He's in surgery over here.
Stop one.
Hey, I take my Christmas tree cookie decorating very seriously.
No, I'm talking about my gingerbread miniature. That's fine.
Oh, it's not too bad.
If you ever have something that requires gift wrapping, I am a master gift wrapper.
I hate gift wrapping, so hold it up next to your face. Are you smiling?
I'm smiling. Thank you, Michaela.
I totally forgot his face, but I'm not even gonna try that.
Do they have different groups
Michaela,
on
you
the
know
song?
why I don't respond to group messages? Because everyone's like, okay, I'll be there, smiley face, thumbs up, and I'm like, beep beep.
Hey, New Life Youth, it's your girl Michaela, and today is day 2 of our Advent calendar. Just a reminder, we want you to like, share, and tag 2 friends to be entered for a prize. We will be announcing the winners the next day of the Advent. Okay, let's get back into our story. So, Jesus knew that he had come not just to preach the gospel of sacrifice, but he also came to be that sacrifice. Yet, he was perfectly willing. We are often too unwilling to do what God says if it doesn't make sense to us. We are often unwilling to inconvenience ourselves for the needs of someone else. We are regularly unwilling to wait. We are often unwilling to be open and honest. We are often too unwilling to consider the loving rebuke of another. We struggle to be willing to say no to our wrong thoughts and desires. We often struggle to be willing to answer God's ministry call. We often are unwilling to admit that we are wrong. Too often we struggle to serve willingly and to give generously. So here's what the Christmas story is all about. A willing Savior is born to rescue unwilling people from themselves because there is no other way. Jesus was willing to leave the splendor of eternity to come to this broken and groaning world. He was willing to take on human flesh and all of its frailty. He was willing to endure the ignominious birth in its stable. He was willing to go through dependency of childhood. He was willing to expose himself to the hardships of life of this fallen world. He was willing to submit to his own law. He was willing to do his Father's will at every point. He was willing to serve when he deserved to be served. He was willing to be misunderstood and mistreated. He was willing to endure rejection and gross injustice. He was willing to preach a message that would cause him personal harm. He was willing to suffer public mockery. He was willing to endure physical torture. He was willing to go through the pain of his Father's rejection. He was willing to die. He was willing to rise and ascend to be our constant advocate. Jesus was willing. You see, it is not a Christmas story rather than a redemptive story that hinges on one thing: the eternal willingness of Jesus. The Advent willingness of Jesus is your guarantee that he continues to be willing today. And he remains willing to do everything necessary to feed, guide, sustain, and protect you until your eternity is your home finally.